I'm Scott, and in the last 6 months, I've scaled Walmart from $0 in sales to $230,000 in sales. And in this video, in 5 minutes, I'm going to go over exactly what I did and how I would do it all over again and the mistakes I've made along the way. Step one was figuring out systems around Walmart before we scaled. Since Walmart's a pretty new platform in regards to third-party sellers, a lot of their stuff is really clunky. It doesn't work as well as Amazon's might, and their support just isn't very good. And so we had to figure out how we were going to scale Walmart effectively, even with these clunky systems. And what that entailed was me going through and doing all the stuff that I usually would have our offshore team do so that I could train them for it, right? And so the 3 steps to training our offshore team for Walmart's processes were: 1, I did all the stuff myself, right? So I understood how it worked. And then I wrote guides. I took notes while I was doing it in step 1. And then step 2 was writing guides for them. And then step 3 was having them follow those guides, understand any of the issues they had, and change the guides if they didn't understand it. And then once they had that all down, we were ready to start buying on Walmart. The biggest problem for us is that we already do a bunch of sales on Amazon. We're doing, a couple million a month. And so scaling Walmart, it couldn't be something that took a lot of time away from Amazon. So we had to have the processes just right before we even started selling there. Step 2 is test purchasing. And the reason why I wanted to do test purchases before we went all in is because of this big difference between Amazon and Walmart. So if you look at Amazon, you can see on the product pages, all of them have indicators about how much they've sold. There's all kinds of software on Amazon that shows you exactly the monthly volume. Helium 10, which is a software I use a lot, that even shows you the volume down to like the singular unit, right? So you can tell if an item sold 1,612 units in a month. That is not the case at all with Walmart. Their API is private, which means they don't share any of the data. And so to understand what sold well, we went off reviews, right? Verified purchases. That's a really good thing to go off of, but we also had to just do test buys. It's really hard to tell, and even after selling 230,000 in the first 6 months on Walmart, hopefully scaling to $100,000 months in the next few months, it's still really hard to tell what's actually going to sell well on Walmart. And I'm still building confidence up for buying, deeper stock the way I do for Amazon. And so with Walmart, we looked at some of the brands and items that we already sell on Amazon, and we're like, let's bring these over to Walmart. Let's sell them on Walmart because they have the same or better margins on Walmart. So let's just copy and paste them. So we did a test buy. We'd buy 5 to 10 items of some stuff, and then we took those items, sold them on Walmart, and kept track of the volume. Did they sell well? Some of the stuff really didn't sell well at all. I bought like 10 to 20 items of stuff we sell thousands of times a month on Amazon. We still have a couple items, so obviously I won't reorder that. But the test buys were absolutely essential to understanding, what is going to sell well here and what stuff is just better to keep on Amazon. Once we had all of the test buy data, I was much more confident in going deep on items. And so that entailed me, instead of buying 5 to 10 items, I started to buy 30, 60, even 100 or 150 of some of the items that sold really well. And that's kind of where we are now. I just started buying in more volume, I'd say like in the last 2 to 3 months, which is why we've gone from like 10,000 in the first month, I think, to like 20,000 to 30,000 to 40, then 40,000. And then June was like 65 or $70,000. So next up, hopefully, would be $100,000. I don't think that'll happen this month just because I haven't been buying as much because I've been traveling. But I do think that we can get to $100,000 a month, probably in Q4. Realistically, it's when it's going to happen, or maybe in August, which is usually a really good month. Just depends on how much we buy this month. But next steps are just doing more test buys in more categories and for more specific products. There's some products we can replenish year round. And so it's not necessarily like something where it's like we have to buy it now or we can't ever buy it again. It's stuff that I just need to know how much it sells, and then I can buy as much of it as I want. The other part of this is, in addition to arbitrage, which is a lot of what we do, which is buying stuff on retailers' websites and then reselling it on Amazon or reselling it on Walmart, we also are bringing a lot of brands onto Walmart right now, right? And so I think that will provide a significant boost in sales. We're currently bringing on a brand to Walmart that does like 1.8 million a month on Amazon. And so I think they'll do a significant amount on Walmart. I have another brand that's doing about 300,000 on Amazon. We're going to be their exclusive seller for Walmart. So those 2 brands should definitely give us a lift. And then I'm actually attending a convention at the end of this week that should give us some more brands that we can work with. So thanks for watching. That's how we scaled from $0 to $230,000. It's probably a little bit different if you're just starting out. If you're just starting out, you don't need to get those systems that dialed initially. Just start buying products and figure out what sells. Your systems are going to be bad when you start out. That's just kind of a rule. My systems still fucking suck compared to like Pattern or one of these huge companies. But hopefully there's some inspiration. 0 to 230,000 in 6 months, basically profiting a full-time income for most people. I think we probably profited $40,000 to $50,000 off of that in the first half of the year. And that's, me not really knowing anything and going in pretty blind to Walmart. So hopefully end of this year, the goal is to do 500,000 in the back half of this year. I think that's very possible, and I will keep you guys posted.